Here's another update on my New York Mets 1981 replay using Inside Pitch baseball game. Just give you an update every 20 games. I like to do kind of like a video update. So this is what comes with the game. This is the chart. It's very like they laminated it, but sometimes it's kind of hard to see. Like some of the stuff is fading away, and so I had to print a new. I made a new one. So this chart you could actually get free on their website, Inside Pitch. It's Inside Strategy Games or something like that. So you can actually print this out. You could pretty much try the whole game if you have the dice without even paying for anything, because they have like the teams, like the extra players for free. That you could print out a couple of those and just like play with those those players, form your own team, and to see if that's something that if you enjoy playing the game. I really do enjoy the game a lot. So really quick with before I talk about the season, how the season's going. So these are the cards. The problem I don't like putting like cards in the rubber band, because some over time you can ruin the cards. And if you look at the cards, they're not as it's like you know, uh, like like a index card kind of thing. It's not very that thick, and you can if you're not careful, you can rip them or something can happen. So I was actually looking into getting like putting them in like baseball sleeves, or card sleeves, and the way these are made, they're a little bit too wide in order to put them into a baseball sleeve. So because these are the ones like I got them, like I bought them and they mailed them out to me. So it wasn't like I didn't print these out. These were not the PDFs. So I was at the a baseball card store, and I bought this. These are team bags. So I thought maybe this would be a good idea. Maybe I can put this is what put them in there like this, and they fit perfectly like that. I guess you can maybe do something like that. Maybe not all the teams, maybe just the Mets, because that's the team I'm playing with a lot. So it's, you know, might help, you know, keep the cards, from ripping and all that. So let's talk about the season. So it's the 81 season. The Mets were really bad. Well, in 1981, this is like, I think when you think about the Mets in the 80s, everybody talks about the 86 team, with Keith Hernandez, Gary Carter, Lenny Dykstra, Ron Darling, Dwight Gooden. A lot of people forget about the '81 season, and early like late '70s, early '80s, the Mets were just really bad. They were a really bad team. '81 is when they started to plant the seeds for the future. Like the end of the season, they traded like Mazzilli to Texas, and Mazzilli was part of the trade that brought Ron Darling over to the Mets. So they were starting to make some changes and look into the future. So, like I said in the previous video, how I start the season, like I have a schedule. This is everything I get from like BaseballReference.com, and I print out a schedule, what happened, and then on this side I write down the results. Uh, Here's an example of the score sheet I use. I use a score sheet from Replay Baseball. This game didn't come with a score sheet. The only thing it came with this thing to keep the score, which I don't use. And I find that Replay Baseball has kind of like a really good score sheet, because if you see on the bottom here, you can put like each player has their fielding stats, and you can be referring to this throughout the game, because the thing about Replay Baseball, there's a lot of error checks and range checks. So that's something you need to have that a reference to that, so you don't have to keep on flipping through the cards. So this is what the Mets lineup was. Beat the Cubs 6-2 the other day. So when I do this, when I print out this, or when I write the lineup, I go to the actual go to BaseballReference.com, and I copy down the exact lineup that was used for that game, and I'll as the game goes on, like I don't like make any changes. Like for example, if like Harris was pitching and he only like pitched like 2 innings and was taken out, I don't do that. I keep the game going at how it plays out in the replay. Here is the standing so far. So you can see over here is the in pencil is my replay standings. What's going on? So the only thing that really changes, or when the Mets play a team, because I'm only replaying the Mets. Everything else is like pretty much staying the same. The only changes would be, for example, if the Mets, in real life, the Mets lost to like the Reds, but then when I did the replay, the Mets beat the Reds. So the Mets can change the outcome. And as you can see here, the Mets were like 13-26. They were really bad. For me, the replay is not so bad. I'm 22-19 right now, so I'm doing okay. I had some basically a stretch of a losing streak. Right here, like I was playing the San Francisco team, the Dodgers, and San Diego, and I had a huge losing streak. A couple of games when I was like saying, "Oh, this is how this is the 81 team. They're finally showing up, and I'm probably gonna have a losing record." But so far, I bounced back, and I'm doing pretty good. I went on a where is this? Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 game winning streak, which is pretty good, and which this team in real life never did. So. So this is kind of like the stats so far after 40 games. These are the stats that I'm. So far, my best player is Youngblood. Never really heard of him before I started playing this game again. I'm more when we think about the Mets in the 80s, the 86 team. So I don't know much of the players from the 81 team. I mean, right now, after playing this a couple, the season, I'm kind of learning more about them. I know that Youngblood gets injured, so I'm not gonna be able to use him towards the end of the season. I know that. But we got Kingman is doing pretty good. He's leading the team in home runs. He's got 7. Lee Mazzilli, one of my favorite players. Just like in real life, he's kind of like struggling. This was his last year with the Mets, and then he got traded to Texas. He would eventually come back to the Mets in I think '86, August of '86, and he was part of the team. That team when they won the World Series. But in '81, he was not. I mean, like in the late '70s, he was a really good player, and even like in 1979, he went to the All-Star game, and I think he got the winning home run or something in that game. But he was a really good player, and even in 1980, he was a good player. If you look at some of his numbers, and all of a sudden it was kind of like a drop, really starting with '81, and he never had that starting role ever again after the '81 season. Again, I said he went to '82. He went to Texas, and then he was traded midway through the season. He was traded to the Yankees, and then in '83 he went to Pittsburgh for a couple of years, and but was never really had that starting role. He was always became kind of like a bench player. But yeah, I could see while me playing the game, he's not right now. He's batting like 215, 1 home run, 17 RBIs, a lot of strikeouts, like 27 strikeouts. So that's he doesn't lead the Kingman leads my team with strikeouts with 30. And here we go with the pitching. The pitching stats so far. I don't know if you can see this. Zachary is my best pitcher, 4-3. Falcone is 4-0. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Neil Allen is doing pretty good. So I'm doing kind of better than the real Mets of '81. And the interesting thing about, like I've mentioned in a previous video about this season, was that it was strike year. So like in June, the whole season was put on hold because of a strike. And a lot of people, when they think about baseball strikes, they think about the '94 season, and a lot of people don't think about how in '81, like there was 2 months taken out of, they were baseball was on hold for 2 months. So basically in June, and they came back in August. And what they did was they split the season in two halves. So you had the first part of the season before the strike, and then they did the second half. And the team that was, I guess, first place in the first half of the season, they got an automatic bye, and they got an automatic trip to like the playoffs. So if you already, if you did good the first half, you could suck at the second half, but you would still make the playoffs. So looking at my stats here, I'm currently, I think I finished game 42, so I have 10 more games until they do the strike. So in those 10 games, I have to really win a lot of those games in order to catch up. The Phillies, the Phillies are 26-18, and I'm currently at 22-19. So I really have to, if I want to like play, get a chance to make the playoffs, I have to really play good for that first half. If not, then I'm going to have to really play good the second half in order to get into the playoffs. And the thing is, I'm not playing in the American League at all. So there is a good chance if I do really good, because the Yankees made it to the World Series from the American League, I could have a Subway Series if I can continue playing good, but we'll see. So I highly recommend if you're looking to purchase like a baseball game. I don't know, maybe if you have Stratomatic and you're looking for a different game or something. I highly recommend Inside Pitch, just for the fact if you go to their website, they have pretty much all the seasons. I think they're only missing like a few. But any season that you really wanted, definitely and it's affordable too, because you can just buy the PDF if you have a good printer, if you want to print it out. You could buy the PDF. I'm not sure what the PDFs cost. I mean, maybe like 15, 20 bucks, or whatever. I don't know. I don't know that information right now, but you can definitely buy it, and if you have the dice, this is the dice that you're gonna need basically for the game. And it doesn't really matter the color. Okay, so this is, you basically need, this is how I play it. I know like people throw like all the dice at the same time. You're gonna need like two six-sided dice. Preferably you want them different colors, because usually because you have like these columns here that you're gonna need to read. So so you need to just have two different colors, and then you're gonna need a D20 in order to do some checks on, because for example, if say you roll a strikeout, strikeouts are not guaranteed. Each player has like a strikeout thing on their. This is like Mookie Wilson. You can see in K. So basically, his strikeout rating is 1 through 14. So you have to roll if anything from 1 to 14, then it's a strikeout. Also, you have to keep certain stadiums add to the strikeouts. So for Shea Stadium, I'll add 3 to it. So his strikeouts goes up, so it's 1 to 17. So it's a good chance he's going to strike out. The same goes for home runs. As you can see, home runs and walks. All the players have these ranges that you have to do a D20 for. So it makes the game it slows down the game a little bit, but it makes it kind of fun. You're like, oh, is this going to be a home run? Another dice that they have is a blue dice. This is basically done for range checks. Also for double plays. This is something just to add. So you got the 3 die here. So that's pretty much it. I'll do another update hopefully in a couple of games. Thanks for watching.